Okay, so let's all bow down our heads and feel the presence of God. In the name of the Father, Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Dear Lord and Father of all, thank you for today. Thank you for the ways in which you provide for all of us, for your protection and love. We thank you. Help us to focus our hearts and minds now on what we are about to learn. Inspire us by your Holy Spirit as we listen and as we write and as we study. Guide us by your eternal light as we discover more about the world around us. We ask all of this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. So, good morning, everybody. And I'm really glad that all of you, I'm okay. So, there's the dog. So, I'm really glad that you all attended this morning session because I made a mistake. It's a huge mistake of sending the wrong time, but we're supposed to follow the 8 a.m. session because we're not supposed to be changing our professors are not supposed to be changing the meeting or the scheduled time. So here we are. It's already 8:14 and we will now begin with our session. So let me just present to you my window. So the section is BSHM1J. We are now heading towards the pre-finals. So in pre-finals, you're gonna have to do the vlog project and the PowerPoint project. Plus, there's also quiz number 5 and activity number 4. But I will be leading you and I'll be guiding you towards the vlog project and the PowerPoint project. Let me just open the module first. I know you have your modules with you, and we will read it together. Let's try to look at the lessons covered by pre-finals. Okay, I'm a bit distracted by the dogs here. So the coverage of the pre-finals are lessons 2 of module 3, communication aids and strategies using tools of technology, and lessons 1 and 2 of module 4, principles and types of speech, connecting with the audience. So that's for the pre-finals. And I would just like to ask all of you, how have you been doing this past few weeks? Are you still doing good with the subject or with anything else? Are still doing great. So I hope that you're still catching up or holding up with all of the things that's been going on. And for those people who like face to face settings, then sooner or later there will be face to face. But I do believe that it was mentioned that online online meetings or flexible learning will still be available to those students who wish to do modular or online meeting. Okay, so let's go to that page. We're done with this. Okay, and since this is an online session, I will be expecting your cooperation, your participation. All right. So, communication aids and strategies using tools of technology. We have here the multimedia. Now, what is a multimedia? It's important for you to know what a multimedia is because you often hear this, especially when you are online, when you're on Facebook. But do you really know what's the meaning of multimedia? Can anyone explain to me? Who knows what multimedia is? I'm not gonna ask you to explain. I just want to see a raise of hand if you know what a multimedia is. Can you give me a raise of hand or can you type yes in the chat box? I'm not gonna ask you to explain it. Okay, so there's none. Now, a multimedia is a content that uses a combination of different content forms such as texts. So, yung mga letters, different writings, audio. When we say text, those are the type letters. Those are the things that you read. Okay, so the dog is scratching the floor. Next is audio. Images, animations, video, and interactive content. And multimedia contrasts with media that use only rudimentary computer displays. Now, what's the meaning of rudimentary? Those are the basic computer displays. Diba, computer usually posts there just the letters and images without sounds or without videos. But for multimedia, it's everything is already there. The video, it's very interactive, and there are music. It can actually help you entertain. It's a very good tool for uh, making your presentation. It's very interesting as well because it in a multimedia it can have videos, or a video is an example of a multimedia. It is an electronic medium for recording, copying, playback, broadcasting, and display of moving visual media. Those kinds of videos that you post on TikTok, it's an example of a video. Now, if you have a YouTube, then you post some videos there, then that's one example. Anything that you record using your phone can be a video. So that's an example of a video. Next is sound recording or reproduction, and it can be electrical, mechanical, electronic, or digital inscription. You usually have uh, CDs or USBs. That's where you can store the recording if you are a musician, or if you are a podcaster, a singer, if you love doing instrumental music or sound effects, that's part of sound recording and reproduction. Next is the PowerPoint or the web based and online presentations, which can contain images and other types of multimedia. Now, what are examples of PowerPoint or web based online presentations? We have PowerPoint Online, Google Slides, Keynote, Prezi, Basic, LinkedIn, and SlideShare. Now, who amongst you was already able to use Google Slides? Let me just enlarge this so everybody can see it clearly. Who amongst you was able to use Google Slides already? So, amongst the examples, what are the examples of presentation that you were already able to use? Ano na mga nagamit ninyo rito? PowerPoint Online, Google Slides, Keynote, Prezi, Basic, LinkedIn, and SlideShare. Which among those presentations were you already able to use? Sagot kayo. Alin dyan, mga nagamit nyo na? You can type it in the chat box. You can type it in the chat box. Who amongst you was able to use Prezi? If not, have you seen a Prezi presentation? So this one is a real good presentation slide. However, it doesn't fit a lot of texts here. Usually more on pictures and just simply bullet points. You cannot slam long paragraphs there. Now, let's go to the general guideline for creating an effective presentation. Let's go to this one. And let me open. So I will be toggling from time to time. So I will share with you my window instead of a specific tab only. I'll be opening the PowerPoint sample. I hope that you're also checking this one out. So here's an example of a PowerPoint presentation, and we are going to evaluate this after reading the guideline or the general guideline for creating an effective presentation. Now, I just wanted to inform all of my students that there is a special reason why your professors are giving you a guideline. And what is that for? It's for you to follow. The problem with students who are not following the guidelines is that they are wondering why their scores are low. It's because the guidelines were not met, were not followed. So I'm telling you that you have to follow this one. Usually, I get myself surprised with the projects that I receive from my students because, regardless of having the guideline given to them, they still follow their own guideline. And that's what I want to reiterate to my students. So, let me just tell you a story. When I was in college, because I really love doing experiments. I love experimenting with things. However, a guideline was given to us by our professor regarding how the strategy on how we can teach the students. But since I love experimenting, I did not follow the guideline. And what's the ending? Where did it end up? Of course, I ended up getting a low score or a low grade because I followed my own guideline and I did not. I ignored the guideline of my professor. Now, if you want to experiment, if you want to follow your own guideline, you have to let this one pass first. You follow this one first, and then once you're a graduate, once you're a professional, that's the time that you're gonna follow your own guideline. But while you are still my student, you have to follow this one. I am not trying to restrict. I'm not trying to limit your capacity or ability, but there must be a standard. And the reasons why there are standards is because we have to have uniformity. Because you will be graded according to the guideline. Now, if you are so creative and you feel like you're being restricted, you can do a lot of PowerPoint presentations using your own guideline, but not for this subject. Okay? We have to have a uniformity and a standard. So, first guideline is you have to minimize the number of slides when creating a PowerPoint. Now, this one is very important for in order for you to convey a clear message. What's gonna happen if okay, so what's gonna happen if you're going to put a lot of slides, jam pack a lot of paragraphs, a lot of pictures? That's gonna cause confusion to your audience. The simpler, the better. Now, have you ever been in a presentation where your classmates put or inserted a lot of slides to the point that you are no longer interested and you are already confused? Buti sana kung those slides are really important. But the lesser, the better. And you have to minimize your slides into 15 slides for an hour presentation. Let's say you're gonna present for 30 minutes, then divide 15 into two. Let's say 7 or 8 will do, but do not exceed 15 slides. Next, choose a readable font size. I mean font style. Let me just share with you an example of a PowerPoint slide, or I mean a font style. Google Slides. So, what are the examples of a good font style? Can you see the presentation? Yes or no? Can you see it? Yes or no? Oh,
Yes
I
po.
just need a yes or no, and you have to respond. Okay, so I'm gonna type my name. My name is Melissa, but I'm using Millet. Let me enlarge it for everybody to see it clearly. Now, this one is an example of Arial. Arial is a very good font style for your presentation. Now, let's try another one. What about Pacifico? According to the guideline, you must not use narrow fonts and fancy edges or curvy edges. Now, will this fall under narrow or curvy edges? Is it narrow
Kirby
or
po.
is it curvy? It's curvy. Now, can we use this font style in the PowerPoint presentation? Yes or
No
no?
po. No.
It's a no. As long as it's curvy, as long as it's narrow, then it's not okay to use it. Now let's try another one. What about Roboto? Roboto, where are you? What about Roboto? Is this a good font style?
Yes.
Yes, it is. I can only hear one voice. What about Comic Sans? Is it still good? Comic Sans. Is it still good?
Maybe po.
Maybe, but as long as it's not narrow, as long as it's not curvy, you're still good. This one is still good. Now let's try another one. What about Times New Roman uh is is fine, but this one is used more often in documents like research. What about lobster? Is this good? Yes or no?
No po.
It's a
No
no
po.
because it has a lot of
Curb.
curves and fancy edges. So you don't have to spend most of your time determining whether a font style is good to use or not. As long as it's not narrow, as long as it's not curvy, then that's good. You don't have to, consume a lot of time deciphering or determining whether you can use that style or not. The next guideline is choose a readable font size. A 1 inch letter is readable from 10 feet away, a 2 inch letter from 20 feet away, and a 3 inch letter from 30 feet away. Always remember that based on how many feet that is, you just have to remove the zero. Let's say it's 30. Remove the zero, and that is equivalent to 3 inches. Let's say, let's say 40. 40 feet away. That's already far. 40 feet away. Now, how many inches should your letter be? Kasi according to this one, if it's 10 feet away, it's just 1 inch. If it's 20 feet away, it's 2 inches. 30 feet, 3 inches. What about 40 feet?
4 inches.
Yes, that's right. Okay, 4 inches. So someone is already saying goodbye. And naka-duty po kasi.
Akala ko po
Okay.
kasi 5 PM po, eh,
Mm-hmm.
naka-break lang po ako ngayon.
Okay, no worries. You can always watch the video. Feel free to leave, Michaela. Thank you so much for attending.
Thank you po.
Okay, and then let's go to the next one. Always remember, you just have to remove the zero, and that is equivalent to whatever number is left. Just convert it into inch. Let's say 4 inches. Next is use bullet points or short sentences because you want your audience to listen to you and not to read the text on the screen. Now, if you're just gonna let your audience, like, if you're gonna slam long paragraphs inside your slide, might as well your audience might just read it instead of listening to you, right? The reason why you are there is you're the main star of the presentation and not the slide itself. So don't let those long paragraphs take away the attention of the audience from you. So it should be in bullet points or short sentences if you really can't help it, but not long paragraphs. It's not, uh, you're not asking your audience to read a novel or a book. It should be a presentation in bullet points and short sentences. I know you have this in mind theoretically. Alam na alam niyo yun. You definitely know that putting long paragraphs in a slide is a no-no. But some of the students, matitigas ang ulo, still they do it. So if you know it theoretically, you have to put it into practice. There are some moments wherein you really can't avoid putting long paragraphs, but you have to at least make an effort to shorten it. Kasi nga, there are some paragraphs that the meaning might get lost when you shorten it. But at least make a way, put an effort to making it short. And then you do the rest. You explain it. And then number 5, use art to convey your message. How are you going to use art to convey your message? Of course, you use graphics. And what are graphics? Those are pictures, illustrations that can help pick the interest of your audience. Diba? It can also enhance. It can inspire them and it can make them interested in listening to your PowerPoint presentation. But don't forget not to put a lot of images there because that can overwhelm your audience. And aside from that, when you use pictures or graphics images, do not use the gore ones, the bloody pictures, the scary ones, because that can trigger anxiety attacks on your audience. And you don't want to be doing that. Parang nangisay siya or na-atake siya sa ano, it's because of the graphics that you've used. Because sometimes memories return. Memories tend to go back to them, especially with the images. So please avoid using pictures that can trigger emotions unless you really want to anger them. You really want to make them angry. Okay? Depending on your purpose. Uh-huh. Example of a vlog. Actually, I have to dig. I have to dig on my files if I can see a vlog. There are a lot, but it's just here. But I will post it. I am gonna look for a good example. Okay. Next is number 6. Use labels for charts and graphs. Now here is an example of a charts and graphs. Now, there is a need for you to use charts and graphs like this one, pie chart or bar graph, you need to indicate it. You need to put a label on it, just like this one. This one doesn't have any label yet because I just Googled it. It's like a relationship between boyfriend and girlfriend. If your relationship doesn't have a label, then that can be confusing and you're gonna give, and people might misinterpret what they see on you. So it's important that there is a label. Kahit nga 'di ba, dito lang sa graphs and charts, it needs a label. What more with the relationship, 'di ba? So if there's no label, it can be confusing and it can be misinterpreted by people. So a label needs to be indicated there. Just like this one, um, if I'm gonna give this a label, it should be the ice cream sales for the entire week of what? The week of what? First week of November, something. So you have to be specific if you're gonna use this one, so that it's clear to your audience. Next is number 7. Use subtle backgrounds consistently. When I say subtle backgrounds, it's something that is appealing to the eyes and not too distracting. When you use backgrounds, let's say the backgrounds that I want my students to use are white backgrounds, gray backgrounds. So you ask yourself, what kind of backgrounds do you regularly or normally use? Do you use pictures as backgrounds? No, I don't suggest using pictures as background. Why? Because pictures are quite colorful and your font, your letters will not be seen easily by your audience. And not all of your audience have 20/20 vision. Okay, and then if you're gonna choose background, can I use blue? Can I use pink? Yes, you do. You can use any color as long as it's in light shade. Let's say if you're gonna use blue, you can use powder blue, and if it's pink, baby pink, anything that's light in color. And then related to number 7, you have to use high contrast between background color and text color. So you set the contrast between a light background. Now, if you're gonna use black font color, it should be it should be put or it should be against a white background, right? Because it's highly contrasting. Now, would you choose a red background and a black font? Would that be easy for you to read it? Definitely no. So that's the reason why a high contrast between background and text color is necessary for you to learn. Next is check the spelling and grammar. According to this one, this is to earn and maintain the respect of your audience. But to me, regardless if your spelling and grammar are incorrect, everybody deserves to be respected. But there's one thing for sure I do believe is that you have to check the spelling and the grammar. What makes of you as as a presenter if your grammar is incorrect or it's ungrammatical and the spelling is incorrect? It makes your presentation look sloppy and lousy that you didn't even dare check your grammar and your spelling. So it makes you look sloppy or something like you're unprepared. And even if you still deserve to be respected, regardless of your grammar and your spelling, the correctness of the spelling and grammar makes you more credible. And when I say credible, the more you can convince, the more your audience will believe you. Tama ba? Am I right? Now, if I'm going to ask you, how do you feel if the presenter, if you see a lot of ungrammatical sentences and wrong spelling in the slides, how would you feel? So you try to ask yourself. Last but not the least is you add references. So it can be added on the slide itself. If you use pictures and if you want to add references there, just the tiny link will do. Now, for the last slide, before you say thank you, you should be able to add references because if especially if the idea did not come from you and if you did not add the references, it's like you are stealing the ideas of other people. It's called intellectual theft, and you don't want to be doing that. Also, even if there are only 10 guidelines here, I want my students not to forget that you should not use bold letters. Alam niyo naman siguro yung bold letters. Hindi yung nakahubad ha, yung bold letters as in the thick letters. And I don't want you to be using all caps all the way. You should learn how to use lowercase and uppercase properly. There are, of course, I have few students who are already used to using all caps all the way. Lagang parang sumisigaw. But you have to unlearn that here in my subject. If you want to follow your own rules, your own guidelines, then what can I do? But as long as you are still my student, you have to follow the guidelines. This is not my guidelines, but for the sake of the subject because I want you to learn. Now, after the subject, then you go back to your old routine of using all caps. But I'd rather suggest not, okay? Because it sounds like you are shouting, you are yelling, especially sa GC or sa chat. I know some students are using all caps and it sounds like they're yelling at the professor. Okay, so we're done. We're done with this guidelines and it's a long rhetoric. Okay, so you have an activity and it'll be posted. Ay na naman siya. It'll be posted on Google Classroom. That's where you're going to answer it. Now let's go to an example here. Let me share this tab instead. Just hold on a second. So you breathe while I'm trying to present, and I hope you're not yet bored because this is going to take an hour and a half. And sometimes, if you have ideas or if you have opinions, you are free to share them. This is not just a one woman show. All right? Can you see the PowerPoint presentation? Yes or no?
Yes po.
Yes. Only one student responded. How about the others? Can you see the
Yes po, ma'am.
PowerPoint presentation?
Yes po.
Yes. Okay, great. Now, let's try to evaluate this. Imagine that you are the professor. Ayan na. You are the professor. Let's go to guideline number 1. What did it say in the first guideline? Minimize the number of slides. Was he able to minimize the number of slides? How many slides do we have? It's written below. How many?
10
Y-
po.
So there are 10 slides. Is it good? Yes or no? Because according to this one, it should not exceed 15 slides. Did he exceed? Yes or no?
No po.
It's a no. So that one is good. So after creating your PowerPoint presentation, this guideline will already serve as a checklist. Now you would know what your markdowns would be based on the guidelines because you will be graded based on this one if you're able to follow this one. If I exceeded, let's say, 16 slides, will that be a markdown? Of course, it's a yes because you've already exceeded, regardless if that's only one slide beyond. Next is choose a readable font style. Let's try to look at a font style that he used. You are students and you definitely know what kind of font style this is. So what font style is it? Oh, who can guess? Who can guess the font style that was used by the student? Anyone?
Times New Roman, ma'am.
Yes, it's a Times New Roman. And did he use it consistently? Is it Times New Roman on all slides? Yes or no? All TNR? TNR, yes, TNR. TNR. All the way down. TNR. And is it readable? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes
It's a
po.
yes. Good. Now let's go to readable font size. Is it readable on your end?
Yes po.
Yes. Okay. So there's no markdown. What about use bullet points or short sentences? Let's try to take a look. Bullet points or sentences, yes or no? For this slide? Anyone? What about this one? This one? Yeah? This one. Although it may seem that the bullet it's in bullet points, but it's in the form of a longer sentence, or it's in the form of a short paragraph. Will this be forgivable? Will this take away the attention of your audience from you? What can you say? Is this forgivable? Yes or no? Anyone? If you are the professor, kasi the story of our life, or I mean, the story of our lives, professors' lives, are not that easy. So we have to evaluate. We have to choose between is this one considerable? Is this one not considerable? Now we have to take a look at the guideline. Was the guideline followed? Yes or no? So if you are in the middle, like 50-50, you don't think that this is considerable or forgivable, and you don't think that it's so 50-50, then you mark it down 0.5. So let's give him a mark down of 0.5 because this one is kind of long. But sometimes you can't really help it. You can't really avoid, you know, putting longer sentences there because if you're gonna make it short, then the meaning might get lost. So we can still forgive this, okay? And let's mark him down of 0.5. 0.5 lang naman, okay? So this one is short. Short. This one is quite long already. Quite long. Quite long. All right. So we mark him down zero point 0.5 or 1. Okay? Let's go back. Did he use art to convey his message? Did he use graphics to help him tell the story? And was it overwhelming? Let's try to look at the pictures that he used. Two pictures in a horizontal arrangement. Okay, two pictures horizontally. Two pictures horizontally, horizontal format. Two pictures on a vertical format. One picture, collage. Now if you've noticed, he's trying to alternate. He's trying to vary the number of pictures and the arrangement para hindi siya yung paulit-ulit so that it wouldn't be redundant and alam mo yun, yung you might lose your interest. So he's trying to vary it. Horizontal, vertical, one picture collage, two pictures vertical, two pictures vertical format, or I mean arrangement. So he's trying to do that. And also, did he use high resolution pictures? Is it colorful and did it pique your interest? Yes or no? Yes or no? Hmm. Are the pictures interesting? But for
Yes.
this one, this collage is not really overwhelming. It's a collection of animals and plants. So what can you say? Yes or no? Is it good? Yes or no? Did it overwhelm you? Or did it make you interested? I just want to hear a yes or no. Yes or no. I'm not gonna ask you to explain it. Kasi parang you are very afraid. I mean, you're really afraid of answering because the professor might ask you to justify your answer. But yes, of course, that's part of being a student. You'll be asked to justify your answer. But for this one, I'm not gonna ask. So, is it a yes or a no? Oh, yes or
Yes po.
no? Yes. Yes. You should be confident with the heart, Chas. Just kidding. Okay, and then did it appeal to your senses? And when I say senses, the sense of sight. And sometimes pictures do not just appeal to the sense of sight. It also appeal to the sense of what? The sense of smell, the sense of taste, the sense of emotion. Just like this one, because there are pictures that you can smell. Like this picture here. You can smell the stench. You can smell that it's funky. Next is this picture here. It can make you feel sad because of the depletion of the environmental resources. Okay. And let's say for food, yeah, those are the things that yeah, in that can what? Yeah, basta yun na yun. Nakalimutan ko. All right. So let's go back. Use labels for charts and graphs. Did he use labels for charts and graphs? There are no charts and graphs here. Probably just a diagram like this one. And that it has a label, a biotic factor. So there, use subtle backgrounds consistently. Did he use a subtle background? Yes or no? Subtle backgrounds are light colored backgrounds like white, like this one. Oh. Although there is a streak of red bar on top of it, it adds flavor. It adds color to the slide so that it wouldn't look boring. So that's a good one. What about use high contrast between background and text color? Is it highly contrasting? What is the color of the font? Oh, what color is this? Siguro naman may makakasagot na nito. What color is this?
Black po.
It's black. Now, what about this one? What color is this? Is it clearly seen? Yes or no? What color is this? Oh, yung mga girls naman, sumagot. Because your eyes are highly distinctive with colors. Pag boys kasi ang sumasagot, parang black is black. Wala nang shade of gray yon. What about the girls? Hmm. What color is this?
Blue.
Say that again? Can you say that again?
Blue po.
Blue. Oh. Okay? Nashock ako doon. Am I being colorblind now? Saan part dito ang blue? I cannot see any hint of
Sumakala ko po
blue.
yung hinighlights niyo po kanina.
Oh, okay. I see. Aha. So, ganito kasi. If you're gonna compare this one, di ba ito black? Whereas this one, medyo, it's like
Medyo,
grayish.
opo, blurred
Grayish na
siya,
siya.
blurred.
Medyo blurred na siya. So, this is still forgivable because you can still read it. But if you're gonna ask me, it has to be uniform. Black dito ginamit niya and then the rest is grayish. So it has to be uniform. Yan ha. Pero it's still forgivable kasi I can still read it and we can still read it. Yun lang talaga. And then check the spelling and grammar. Did we see any ungrammatical sentences and misspelled words so far? For me, I did not see anything unless I will scrutinize it. But your audience should not be able to see all the ungrammatical sentences and the misspelled words because their focus should be on you. If you're able to grab their attention, then all the mistakes or some of the errors should not be seen by them. Okay, unless they are really scrutinizing it. And then last but not the least, add references. Was he able to add references? Yes or no? It's a
Yes po.
yes. There are a lot of references, and he could have used a black font color instead of gray. Because it's hard to look at it. Ang binlock lang niya is itong si Eros Ocampo. Now, if you are the professor, what score will you give this student? 1 as the lowest and 10 as the highest.
8 po.
8. So what are the markdowns? Saan mo siya minark down? What are the markdowns? Etong, hindi ba sinabi ko all caps? This one is forgivable kasi it's a title. Ayan, forgivable. Yan ha. Pero yung i-all caps mo lahat ito, That's a full markdown. Oh, what are the markdowns? 'Di ba? Andun siya sa color of the font and the paragraphs. Yung use of paragraphs niya. Doon lang siya na markdown. But if you are a generous professor, you're gonna give him a 9. But if you are a stingy one, you're gonna give him an 8. Ganun siya. That's how it works. Okay? Depending on ano yan dun sa closeness, dun sa conciseness nung gawa nung bata. Okay. So that's how you're graded. So you have to make sure that you follow all the guidelines. And lucky you are because you're able to attend this session. Now let's move ahead. We have another activity here which will be answered in Google Classroom. Let's go to communication for general purposes. So we have here principles and types of speech, connecting with the audience. And in this module, you'll learn that having excellent communication skills can practically help you express yourself clearly and confidently. You can gain respect of other people, achieve your goals, and succeed in life. Because if you are if you are confidently good in your communication, the more it's easier for you to achieve your goals. Your objectives were communicated to other people, making you less prone to disappointments because you were able to communicate your objective. Just like what I did right now, I was able to communicate my vision, my goal, or our objectives for this project. It's up to you if you will follow it or not. Now, um, having competence in oral communication is important because it makes you become an effective communicator and a leader. So, if your course is HM, hospitality and management, you can also be a leader in your own profession. Now, if you are someone who is a good communicator, you are able to listen attentively to identify the conveyed meaning. It's not just all about speaking, it's also all about listening. Because what's good about speaking if you don't know how to listen? You are you are disregarding or ignoring the content of the message, which will you'll not be able to address the needs of the person talking to you, and that can cause disappointments and misunderstandings. Number two, you'll be able to collaborate with others if you have good communication skills. So, communication skill is a life skill. It's not something that, oh, I'm a hospitality and management student, so I don't think that I need communication skills. Yes, you do. Let me just repeat it. It's a life skill. Wherever you go, you need to communicate. So you have to enhance it, you have to hone it. And you collaborate with other people in your job. If you become professionals in the future, you need to work with people. And when you collaborate with them, then you have to confidently speak. And it's like the groupings here in my subject. It's like a training ground on how you can or how you will communicate with your classmates. If you are if you are good in communicating your ideas, then your classmates will believe you, they'll find you credible. Number three, use critical thinking and problem solving skills. Being a good communicator, you must be creative. You should learn how to solve problems and use critical thinking. Critical thinking is questioning whatever is presented to you, regardless if you were presented with a lot of evidence or pieces of evidence. You should still learn how to weigh those pieces of evidence presented to you. You question if they're true or if they're factual or not. And the number four, give appropriate feedback. Some of the people just give feedback by insulting the person and the work of the person. That's not a good feedback. And when we say a good feedback or a constructive feedback, you should focus on Hold on a second. You should focus on how you can improve or how the person can improve his work and do not insult. So these are the things that you can do to improve your PowerPoint presentation. Number one, add some pictures. Number two, remove the unnecessary information. Number three, that's how you give constructive feedback. Sometimes people mistake being frank, candid. Alam mo yun? Prangka akong tao, kaya ganun ako magsalita. No. No, it's a no. It's how you say it. You give feedback in a nice tone, in a gentle manner, in a way that the person will know how to improve himself and his work. Hindi yan nadadaan sa prangka akong tao, or else you will end up having no friends at all. They wouldn't want to deal with you anymore. And that's part of purposive communication. If I'm not gonna teach this one, if I kind of opposed your idea about being frank, then so be it. As long as I taught you the right way, this is how it's done, and that's part of purposive communication. I did my part as your professor. Okay? So if ever sasabihin nyo, di ako believe dun sa sinabi ni Ma'am Mendoza. Fine. Pero I did my part of letting you know that it's not about frankness, it's not about candidness, it's about providing constructive feedback. It's how you say it. Kahit nga from your parents, if they're mad at you, i- even if with just trivial matters, when I say trivial, yung mga mundane, or I mean yung mga small stuff, they try to, kunyari, pinagalitan kayo, they got mad at you. Hindi naman sila galit na galit, pero it's how they say it, you were hurt. So that's what I'm trying to say. Next would be um, converse with others in different backgrounds. So there are a lot of people whom you will talk to, different religions, different practices, different beliefs, and it's important for you to respect them. Part of the purpose of communication is learning how to communicate with respect. That's ethical communication. If you did not learn that, then I don't know why. It's in the module, and I think I've already discussed that previously. And if you did not attend, it's always in the module. You can always go back to that. Now, if you did not learn anything, well, I don't know who's to blame. These are qualities that are relevant in the present 21st century world. After the purposive communication subject, you must be or you must have already learned how not to discriminate, like all Muslims are terrorists. You're no longer like that. And you are no longer the same person who used to say, I'm sitting beside a blind person, or the blind person is sitting beside me. Or Henry still suffers from asthma. You are no longer that kind of a person. Instead, you are going to focus more on the person rather than the disease. Or the person with visual impairment. That's how you're supposed to say it. Or Henry has asthma. Ganun lang. Wala nang sasabihin pang Henry suffers from asthma. So that's just an example. Now I'm already making this longer than it's supposed to be. Let's move on to the next. In making a speech, kasi nga, we're going to talk about doing a speech. You should have a material, and the material refers to your topic, which can be about your experiences and your observations, inspiration, or anything you are interested to talk about. That's your topic. It's a short, it's a small, it's an encompassing. It's like a spirit to your speech. It's encompassing, it's the topic, but it's not yet the content. Okay? Whereas the message refers to the content or the main point of your speech. Topic is different from the content. Topic is just the mother of the content. Message is the meatiest part. It's like a burger. The meatiest part is in the center, the message. Okay, and then um, which can be supported by personal stories or anecdotes, humorous or inspiring, and relevant statistics, ideas from newspapers. So this is the content. This is where you're going to support your speech or your argument. Now, there are different purposes where you're going to deliver a speech. First is to inform. Now, this seeks to provide audience with clear understanding of the concept or idea presented by the speaker, the lectures of your teachers. Like what I'm doing right now, I am providing a speech to inform my students how communication works, how the project is supposed to be done. So that is the speech to inform. If you are gaining something from something, if you are learning from the speech, then you are listening to a speech that informs you. It's like what I'm doing right now. Number two, speech to entertain, which seeks to provide audience with entertainment. It can be humorous speech from your favorite speakers or stand-up comedian. Like Vice Ganda, she's a stand-up comedian. Also, if your emotions were evoked, if the speaker was able to pull your heartstrings, then that's a form of entertainment. Entertainment, kasi when we say that, it's not just all about laughing. It's also about crying. Now, if they were able to make you cry, then it's a form of entertainment. Speech to entertain. Next is speech to persuade. So this seeks to provide audience with favorable or acceptable ideas that can influence their own ideas and decisions. The campaign speeches of candidates for government posts are best examples of this type. The reason why candidates make a persuasive speech is for you to vote for them. And also another example is, let's say you have an advocacy and your advocacy is about healthy lifestyle, healthy living. Now you're gonna make a speech that hot dogs can that hot dogs can cause cancer and all the processed meat in food, cigarettes, all those stuff. Now, how would you know that you were able to persuade your audience? That is if they have a change of behavior, change of lifestyle. That is when you already knew that they're no longer eating hot dogs or other processed meats, or they no longer puff cigarettes. Now, how are you going to persuade your audience? This is part of the vlog, so you have to listen carefully. We are going to use, di pala we, you are going to use the ethos, the pathos, and the logos, which are coined by Aristotle. And they are modes of persuasion used to convince the audiences. And they are all represented
Excuse po,
by,
ma'am.
yes, sunshine.
May attendance po.
There's no attendance actually, so this meeting is not required, so I'm not checking the attendance. Okay? Probably in your other subjects, attendance is required or is being checked, but for this one, I don't really check the attendance because students have the power to choose. They have a choice whether they want to attend or not, and it's kind of unfair if I'm gonna give attendance points for those who attended. But regardless if you attended or not, I still give bonus points. That's a good thing about it. So yun. Right, let me continue. So if you just have questions, just let me know. Why? By the way, Sunshine, are you going to leave the session already? All right. So the ethos, pathos, and the logos, they are represented by Greek words. What is ethos? Ethos is the ethical appeal, means to convince an audience of the author's credibility or character. Greek word for character. Now, how are you going to apply the ethos? Here's an example. If if you are going to listen to a speech regarding how regarding purposive communication, would you rather choose um, the lecture to be given by a boxer and a senator like Manny Pacquiao, or would you rather have an LPT and a person with a major in English like Ma'am Mendoza? Which among the two are you going to choose? Would you rather have Manny Pacquiao do the lecture or Ma'am Mendoza, who has an English degree with a master's in leadership and management and an LPT or a licensed professional teacher? Whom do you want to give you the lecture? Is it Manny or I? Sino ang gusto ninyo? Sino gusto niyo magbigay ng lecture sa inyo?
Ang kayo po.
Regarding purposive communication, of course, you made the right choice, Jolina. Thank you for answering. Okay? Regardless of how famous or popular a person is, if he is not the right person, then you cannot use the credibility or his character. Just like for this example, giving a lecture about purposive communication, kahit mayaman si Manny Pacquiao, regardless if it's a senator or a popular famous boxer, you still did not choose him because he's not credible to do the job. Okay? That's one thing for ethos. You're using the character of a person. Just like you, HM students, you can also use your credibility. Let's say you're already a graduate and a professional. You can say that I know as an HM professional or as a hospitality and management professional, I know how to make the clients feel comfortable. Of course, people would believe you more than anyone else in the world because you studied BSHM. Another thing is, let's say, when people know your character as someone who has integrity, as someone who don't lie and who someone who doesn't lie and who doesn't steal, they would probably more believe you than a person who was caught lying once. Ganun siya. And then if there is a crime, people would always use the character of the person. Di ba nga, we would always hear the neighbors or the mother saying, hindi po magagawa ni Eljan Flores yun. Kasi mabait na bata po yan. Kilala ko po yan since pagkabata niya. That's what they say. Because they're trying to establish the credibility of your character. That's for ethos. Now, same thing with let's say medical questions. Would you rather ask a teacher or an engineer about medicines about cancer, or would you rather ask a doctor? Same thing when reading articles. If you want to see legitimate news or articles about medicine, rather go for an author who has an educational background in medicine. Okay, so enough of the ethos. If you still have questions, please let me know now. We will now proceed with the pathos. Pathos, or the emotional appeal, means to persuade an audience by appealing to their emotions. Authors use pathos to evoke sympathy from an audience to make the audience feel what the author wants them to feel. Ngayon, let's say your boss will be firing you from your job, but you're gonna make yourself look pathetic. Papaawa ka. So you're gonna say to your boss, "Boss, please don't fire me. I need this job. I have 5 mouths to feed. I have 10 wives, and my parents are sick." So you make paawa, and because you want to touch the emotion of your boss. So probably your boss will not fire you and look for someone else who is single, to that extent. But that's just an example. It's not realistic. Okay. And then another example is that um
Authors also use pathos to invoke sympathy or can make a person feel angry. Like it could draw pity or inspire anger from an audience. And that is one thing the politicians use. They used to play with the emotions of the people. They try to make them angry at one politician because they know that the emotion has more intensity than the intellectual part of the people. That is to some. Do you get what I mean? Most, or if not most, uh, some people's intellect are lower than their emotion. Mas nangingibabaw yung emotion kaysa dun sa intellect nila. So, they become subjective. And that's one thing pathos can do. Pathos can persuade people who have lower intellect than their emotional aspect. So you have to check then what kind of strategy did the author use to make you feel persuaded? Baka puro pathos lang yon. And pathos can be lied about. Pwedeng pagsinungalingan yan. They can they can say whatever they want to say to make them look pathetic or in order to make you feel angry at a person. Now, you need logos in order for you to definitely believe the person, you have to look into the logos. But before that, another example for pathos is not just the emotional appeal, yung being sad or being angry, but also being happy. For the boys, if they have, like, let's say, they are courting a lady, they would not, of course, make themselves look pathetic because that can make them look like a loser or something. What they do is they try to become humorous. They try to make the lady feel happy. And once they were successful in doing that, the greater the chance that they can have, or the greater the chance that they can convince and persuade the lady into falling in love with them. Now, if you've noticed, there are also guys that who are not that good looking, but they do have a lot of chicks. It's because they know how to use pathos. They know how to make a woman or a lady feel happy. Di ba nga? Kasi nga, emotional appeal is kind of strong. Sometimes, patok na patok yan, especially to those with lower intellect and the emotional is higher than the intellect. Kaya, I'm telling you, ladies, do not be like that. Gentlemen, do not be like that. Your intellect should always be higher than your emotional aspect. It's just a tactical move for people to persuade you. And not all pathos are, believable or credible. So you have to look into the logos. Now, what is logos? It's the appeal to logic, means to convince an audience by using logic or reason. Now, this includes citation of facts, statistics, historical and literal analogies, and citing certain authorities on a subject. Now, the word logic is derived from the word logos. Now, you can provide statistics, data, experiments, studies from different experts. Now, I can still remember that you will be able to support your argument. You're going to make it airtight argument by providing facts. I used to comment before on Facebook regarding a valedictorian. She used her graduation rights in delivering a speech saying that in front of the parents and in front of the principal and a lot of graduates, she said, I parang that she's supposed to be the valedictorian and not the valedictorian that they choose or that they chose. So I made a comment saying you are assuming, like, girl, you are just assuming that you are supposed to be the valedictorian unless you were able to compare your grades vis-a-vis with that of the valedictorians, which will never happen because there is a Republic Act that protects a student from having her grades be visible to other people. The school and the teachers would not allow other people to see the grades of a student to anyone else except for the student herself and the guardian. Now, the question is, how was she able to compare her grades to that of the valedictorians? She's not able to do that. So, unless she's able to do that, she's only assuming that she is the valedictorian. Now, there's one commentator that replied to me saying slur or bad words against me because I think he is siding on the bitter girl talaga. He's trying to side with the girl. Now, I laid down the facts. Because I'm not gonna say that the lady is assuming unless I have facts. Di ko lang nilagay doon. But then, I stated to him, Republic Act number, like this, like that the school and the professors or the teachers are not allowed to show the grade of a student to other people unless it's the guardian or the student himself. Now, I told him, bobo pa sa bobo ang bobong nagmamarunong. Sounds harsh, but paano ano kasi sinabi niya sa akin. And then, I told him, I'm gonna wait for your response. Sinabi ko sa kanyang ganon. And then, I did not receive any response from him anymore. So that made my argument airtight. He can never find any holes or loopholes to it because it's already coming from the law. And you cannot debunk the law. Now let's say a person is a thief. He stole a lot of money from the government. Now what are your facts? What are your evidence? Now it's coming, if it came from the Supreme Court, you cannot debunk, you cannot deny that he stole something because it's already proven as fact. Pag yun na yung galing sa Supreme Court, you can no longer deny it. Pero there are still some people who still choose to be blind to it. And that is for the logos. Now, I'm not trying to imply anything about it. It's just an example. Okay? Now, in order to persuade your audience, proper ethos or proper use of ethos, pathos, and logos is necessary. This three is a powerful combination to persuading your audience, your parents, your sisters, your brothers, your friends, your classmates. The use of ethos, pathos, and logos. And then, minsan nga, kahit you just use one of these persuasive techniques, it's still powerful. What more if you're gonna use three? So this is what you're going to do with your vlog. You're gonna show or you're gonna make a 3-minute video, but I'll explain it later. We are now going to proceed with the methods of delivery. Are you bored yet? Are you bored yet? Bored na ba? I want you to take a deep breath. I know it's quite hard to listen to long lectures, but it's also hard to speak for a long period of time. So I just want you to bear with me and we're just even. Mas madali nga. It's easier to listen than to speak. All right, so let's continue. Here are the methods of delivery. Number 1 is the manuscript. You know manu, which means hand. Now, if you're asking for the hand of your lolos and your lolas or your parents, mano nga po. It means kamay nyo nga po. Okay? And the script, which means write. Handwritten. Now, the speech is delivered by speakers who intend to read aloud their speech word for word to the audience. And one example for this one is writing or reading a proclamation paper. And a proclamation paper is kind of long. It's like a public announcement where There should be no room for mistakes regarding the details. And another example is court decision. And since this is literally reading to the audience, manuscript speakers will have difficulty in grabbing the attention of the audience because there is no eye contact and there's no stopping. Next is the memorize. So this speech is delivered by speakers who intend to memorize their speech, and the content is already stored in their memory. So this happens when one delivers a declamation or oratorical piece for a contest during a gathering. Next is extemporaneous speech, which is delivered by speakers who intend to present a well-crafted speech. This speech is fully prepared and perfectly rehearsed ahead of time. Example of extemporaneous, although extemporaneous is not reading the script, you can have a cheat sheet or short notes to guide you, but this one is prepared, just like what um, the name of Mark Zuckerberg and all those professionals who were invited to deliver a speech in graduation rites. That's an example of an extemporaneous speech. All right. There's another activity. And then, so this is the corporate culture. This is for final, so we will stop there. But I am going to discuss to you shortly. I'm just gonna discuss how to connect with your audience because it's part of speech, part of doing a speech. Just hold on a second. I'll just open the handout. BSHM1J, and I still got one more class for tomorrow. Let's go to classwork. Let's go to the handout. Now, it is important for a speaker to be able to know the different backgrounds of his audience. And why? Because you need to address what they need and you need to know the topics that they can relate with. Also, you need to be considerate with their practices, their backgrounds, because whatever you're going to tell your audience will land differently on them. Just like what I am saying right now, you might take it differently. It will land and it will be taken by my students differently because my students have different experiences in life, different backgrounds in life, different beliefs and practices. So yon. And also, diba? So you have to also establish a connection with them. And you also need to learn the background of your audience in order to avoid clash. For example, you are coming from a different religion. Let's say you are a Catholic or you are Muslim, you are Iglesia, and your audience are coming from different religions. What you need to do is uh, you have to be careful with the words that you're going to use in order for you not to clash with your audience. But the baseline there is in order for you to have harmony with them is the word respect. Just respect their beliefs and their practices. That's the reason why you need to know the background of your audience. So the first thing that you're going to do in order for you to connect to your audience is to respond with what you see. If you see that your audience, this is the last topic, okay? So please bear with me. Respond with what you see. If your audience are already sleepy and they're yawning, you have to make a way to revive them. It's either you do an entertainment thing, you make them laugh, crack a joke, or do some light exercises with them, especially after lunchtime when people feel really sleepy. Now we respond to what you see. If they're raising their hand, then it means they need something that you have a question that you need to answer. Number two, look at people a bit longer. Now, it's common advice for speakers to look at all parts of the room. Wag lang, do not just look at one person. You need to have an eye contact with your audience. Um, but be careful not to look at your audience for a very long time because that can be creepy. It's like, hey, try to look at the speaker. He's been looking at me for quite a long time now. I think he has a crush on me. So that's kind of creepy to your audience, and you might be given a wrong impression if you stare at them for long. So the advisable eye contact should be 2 to 3 seconds only. Next, by the way, and if you made an eye contact, it can make your presence felt and you can gain the trust of your audience. Next is smile and have fun. This is when you smile, you exude positivity. And when you exude positivity, then your audience are having fun to listen to you. Like, oh, the speaker is smiling, and it sounds like he's a positive person, and he likes what he's doing. He likes to be with us. So your audience are having fun. Next is be personal. When I say personal, you share a piece of your life. You share a piece of you. Like try to tell a story about your life, your past. That's something connected to the topic. Do not just state a story that's not related to the topic just because you want to make it personal. No, it's not like that. So as soon as you make part of the presentation personal, you will get closer to your audience. Okay? And then it doesn't mean that it's all about you all of the time. Like, ako, ganyan ako. This is me, my parents, my siblings, my children. The speech is not about you. You just have to make it personal and just try to make it short so that your audience can relate and will feel closer to you. This one is related to number 5. Refer to what they already know. Now, if you talk about stuff that people can't relate with, you make it hard for them to understand you. Like you're going to talk about your favorite game. Let's say your favorite game is ML, and though your audience don't really play ML, then they cannot relate. It's like you're talking to them in foreign language. Now you share a story that like in general everybody can relate with, so that they know what you're talking about and they can easily understand it. They can be a part of the conversation. Okay? And if not, they will feel left out. Number 6, walk towards your audience. You make your presence felt. It's like a Wi-Fi. The closer you are, the stronger the signal is. Similar with the presentation, if you are the speaker, the closer to your listeners, then the stronger your presence is. Ganun siya. By physically getting closer to your audience, you make them feel closer to you as well. And make it a part of your presentation. Now, compliment the audience. It's important for you to say good things, good stuff about your audience, and avoid the negative ones, because um if you keep on saying negative words to them that they're not good or what, they will try to veer away from you and they would not want to listen to you anymore. So rather compliment them, thank them for attending, just like what I'm gonna do later. And last but not the least, you tell a story. Why? Telling a story can make your audience feel interested because a story is a series of events. Now, if it's a series of events, they are waiting for what's going to happen next. You try to hook them with the use of telling a story, and that's for sure it's going to be effective. And they want to know what happened in the ending or in the end. So those are the things on how you can connect with your audience. This is part of your exam. So even if I've already explained you this, there are some information that might be left out and you might have forgotten. So you still read it. It's part of the exam. And then let's go to the classroom where I will discuss how you're going to do the vlog project. Let's go to the vlog first. So the vlog can be solo or maximum of 3 members. Are you still good? Are you still good? Are you still listening?
Yes po.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay. So it's important for you to listen to the vlog project because your grade depends on this one. So it can be a solo if you don't want to work with other classmates, and if you want to make your life easy. Actually, sometimes it depends. Minsan mas madali pa mag-solo. Now, if you're gonna have 3 members, follow the protocols. Be creative. If you're going to do it by group, make sure you do social distancing. Number 2, create a YouTube channel. Now, if you don't want to create a YouTube channel, then just send it to me. Just send the link to me. Now, if you have a YouTube channel with subscribers, might as well post it there and I will follow you. I will subscribe to your channel. Number 3, create a 3-minute video or vlog about a question. You're going to answer this question. Now, what the question is? What's the question? You have to persuade your audience. Do students need to study general education subjects like PC, etc.? Now, you mention your stand first. Are you against gen ed subjects? Like, I don't need gen ed subjects because I don't learn anything from it. It's not a major subject. So you have to persuade your audience. Now, if you are pro gen ed subjects like PC, you have to persuade your audience by providing your ethos, pathos, and logos like we need gen ed subjects because first, second, third. All right. Now, how will you be graded with the content? The content should have ethos, pathos, and logos, and that's 40%. Some of the students surprised me by indicating they explained what ethos, pathos, and logos is. Well, FYI, you don't need to explain the definition of ethos, pathos, and logos because I already know them. Alam na alam ko na kung ano yon. So, what I want to see is for my students to to present in the vlog how they can apply the ethos, pathos, and the logos in convincing the audience. Next is the creativity, which is 30%. Yan, like if there are transitions, background music, and all, colors. Next is purpose of the video. It must be clear that you're trying to persuade the people, and it's not just for cutie cutie. 30% that is. Next, you try to upload it on YouTube, or if you don't want to upload it on YouTube, then just give me the link. Make sure that, yeah.
Excuse me po, pwede po ba sa i-upload po sa hindi po yung G Suite account yung gamit namin, yung Gmail lang po. Pero sa YouTube channel din po.
Yeah, that would be great. That would
Alam
be
ko
great.
na-subscribe ko na po kayo, nakita ko po yung nyo eh.
Yeah. Well, if you want me to subscribe, I can just let me know, and I will subscribe to your channel. No problem with that, because I'm an avid supporter of my students. All right. So if anyone else among you who has a YouTube channel, then just let me know so I can subscribe. Okay. Now make sure the video has quality and you wouldn't be ashamed to let everybody watch it. So I will be choosing videos that will be posted. I will share it. So have some quality in doing it so that you won't feel ashamed.
All right. Remember to make it purposeful and intended for general audience. Be respectful, right? And anything that can, especially ang audience dito are the students, but other like parents as well can be your audience, the teachers and the school. If I forget anything, let me know so I can add it here. Now, if you have members that do not contribute, just type it in the comments or PM me so that there will be a deduction on the points. Meron tayong tinatawag na peer rating. The peer rating 1, 2, 3. 1 if it's only 4 ideas. Let me just revise this one. Hold on a second. Anyway, this will be the last topic. Revise ko lang ha. Peer rating. So, you give 1 if it's purely idea lang ang kinontribute. Idea or laway lang. You give 2 if the student gave an effort, gumawa, pero walang idea na inambag. And then, give 3 if there is idea plus effort. It's the highest. So, I'll be giving additional points if you're gonna give feedback, peer rating. And then, questions for the vlog project.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
makikita daw po ba kami sa vlog?
Good question. For, let's say there are 3 of you.
Opo,
If
ma'am.
you choose, kasi ganito yan ha, depending on you yan. But definitely, there should be at least 1 student who would be seen. Pwedeng 3 kayo. If there are 3 members in the group, all of you can be seen, or pwede rin naman 1 of you will be seen, as long as 1 person should at least be seen in the video. Pwedeng 1 is editor, 1 is, let's say, the creator of the script, or the writer of the script, and 1 is the speaker. That will do. Not necessarily everyone will appear in the video unless that is your group preference. Okay ba?
Opo, ma'am.
Did I answer your question? Any more questions for the vlog project? Questions? Okay, so while waiting for questions, let me go back to the PowerPoint project. Now, the PowerPoint project, how are you going to do it? It is group or individual project, max of 4 members per group. You can use either PowerPoint or Google Slides depending on your preference, which one is easier for you to use. You can actually use your cell phone if you don't have a laptop. Now, the theme of the PowerPoint should... I'm done with the environmental. I'm so over with this environmental because most of my students use environmental. None of them chose societal issues. So societal issues are like LGBT, what else? EJK, political. Those are examples of societal issues. It's enough of the environmental issues. Now you write it with the definition, and then the definition of the societal issues that you want or that you chose, and then what are the problems and provide the resolution. Ganun siya. And then please use the guidelines in the module, the one that I explained earlier. Only 1 student will submit but will attach the names of the members. 1 submitter lang per group, and the rest of the members, you type in the comment section the name of the member so that I would know. For example, I've already checked the work of the group, and you mentioned there the name of your group mates. I would just have to look at the names of the members, and then your score will follow their score. Ganun siya ha. And then peer
Ma'am,
rating as well. Yeah.
excuse me po. 'Di ba po yung sa vlog po, pwede po ba dun medyo taglish-taglish ng konti?
Um Mm, as much as possible, you use English kasi you have a script there. But if you really can't help it, sige, I would allow Taglish. If that will make your project good, then I give you the go signal. Okay?
Sige po, ma'am. Thank you po.
So it's the 4th. I'm gonna make you submit this vlog project on the 18th. Any more questions? Eto na ha, i-ano na natin. The pre-finals will be, let me just make it smaller so that it'll be easier for me to edit it. Connecting vlog project, dito siya sa baba. So the vlog project will be submitted on the 16th. No. It should be the 18th. All right. And then the quiz should be submitted tomorrow, the Friday. It's just easy. It won't take you 30 minutes. And then pre-finals. By the way, if you have violent reactions, please let me know now. Please let me know now if you have violent reactions. And I don't want my students to be talking behind me. Sabihin nyo na sa akin, sa harapan ko. May angal. No violent reactions, no suggestions, no questions. Okay, it's already 9:50 and that should conclude our meeting for today. I'm not gonna meet you anymore next week. So you just prepare for your, you just prepare for your vlog project and your PowerPoint project. Okay, no more questions. Please turn on your cameras for the picture taking. Screenshot. Please turn on, everyone, so that we can finish para matapos na tayo. And I hope no more questions. If you have questions, just ask me through the GC or through Messenger. PM me. And everyone, please turn on your cameras.
Ganda ni Mary Joy.
KZ, John, Christina, Jomar, Raphael,
Ma'am, sira
Ira.
po yung camera ng laptop po ng kapatid
All right.
ko.
Okay. No worries. For those who can turn on their cameras, please turn it on. I want to see your smiles. 1, 2, 3. Pa. 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Thank you po.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye po.
Bye.
Thank you po.